everyone. Welcome to this webinar, which is the first webinar that we have for 2026 with the Women in Marketing Bulgaria community. My name is Lazarina, and I'm very excited to be hosting this webinar today. We have a superstar panel of guests, and we will be discussing topics like AI in video SEO, organic marketing, how to use it for customer research, what is important for technical branding, for AI search systems, and how to learn it as a senior marketer, because I think that's super important at the end to wrap it all up. So very exciting webinar today. Before I give the podium to all of our amazing guests, welcome everyone, with their introductions, I just want to say, of course, anyone watching knows me and knows that I live in a beautiful home with 2 cats, a dog, and my little girl. So if you hear babies crying, cats jumping on me, or anything else, that's totally fine. And I'm just very happy to learn that some of our guests also share some of these or all of these joys as well. So expect a very, webinar that is filled with knowledge and insights, but also filled with pets and kids and fun times, because as working women, what else do we have to do? So just wanted to put this out there, and thank you all for, bearing with us. So first, let's go with the order of your presentations. I only wanted to ask you, besides, of course, your introductions and what you do, so our viewers know a little bit more about you, I wanted to also ask you what you are most excited about when it comes to AI. Sam?
Yep, so I'm Sam Torres. I've been in SEO for about 15 years. I recently made the jump from agency to in-house, where I'm the senior manager of tech SEO at Pipedrive. And then what I'm most excited about, honestly, it's just been really fun to watch. I have a 9-year-old son, and so it's been fun to watch how he's utilizing it and trying to get onboarded. And there's also a lot of it that maybe I am not excited about at all. But also it's been really fun to automate making all of his book reports and things like that. So mostly I'm excited for how it's making my daily life easier, like meal planning, and trying not to think about environmental impact.
Yes. Can I quickly interject, because I will go back to the intros in a moment. Regarding the environmental impact, anyone watching that is not going to Brighton is going to miss my amazing presentation on the environmental impact on and I know it's such a shameless plug, but it's very important to note that yesterday we assigned as a community 7 scholarship tickets to Brighton SEO, and we have the biggest group traveling ever. We'll have a total of 9 women traveling from Bulgaria, and it's very important to note that our community members also get a 10% discount for tickets, and the Brighton SEO team would have hated me if I didn't mention it. So if you're still postponing getting tickets to Brighton SEO and you're a member of our community, definitely don't postpone it. And even if you're not, definitely go. So going back to the introduction, sorry about this, but I had to do it. Myriam?
Hello, everyone. My name is Myriam, and as you can hear, I am painfully, fearily, savagely French. You can find me on the internet having very divergent thoughts. So what I'm excited about regarding AI, and I see Emina going, yes. So if you're bored about reading the same thing over and over again, and you feel like you're not getting that information gain in SEO, check me out. You're in for a weird time. So when it comes to AI, what I'm excited about is a bit different. I mean, I agree with everything that Sam has said. I also take pictures of my beauty products to have a proper routine. Did you know there's an order to these things? I didn't. And oh, I love opening my fridge and saying, hey, check what I have in the fridge. Check the specials at the store. Make up a menu. But I have ADHD. Okay. And to me, this is an assistive technology because it connects the dots in unusual ways, the way my brain kind of functions. It's just mine has a different scale, and I hallucinate a lot less. But when it comes to work, what am I excited about? Multimodal search. I love the fact that images can be seen, and I use that with giant quotes, emotions are analyzed as well. So if you're saying, hey, travel worry-free, and you have someone with a constipated face on the landing page, that's not gonna cut it. Same for videos and podcasts. This is opening brand new doors when it comes to optimization. And yeah, I've been going down that rabbit hole.
Love it. Anyway, I'll keep my comments to the discussions part. Let's continue. Jess, you're next.
Hi, I'm Jess Peck. I have a British accent, but I'm living in Boston in the US now. And I've been working in SEO since like 2015. I am now a data engineer at, I can't announce it yet, but just got that job, so everyone be hyped for me. I'm very excited about it.
Love it.
And the thing I'm most excited about with regards to machine learning and AI is the ways that it can be used to streamline and find, like Myriam was saying, find these patterns that human brains are kind of bad at looking at, finding efficiencies. There's a concrete company in Boston that hired a machine learning engineer to predict where concrete needed to be so they could stop concrete from needing to idle in certain places and lower the amount of environmental impact and also make it cheaper for them. And I think there's a lot of stuff we can do with that in marketing and SEO. So that's...
And the fun fact is I'm sure they didn't use a generative AI model for that, right? No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't think... Yeah.
Larisa, you go next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Larisa. I basically specialize in video SEO optimization through psychology. My background is in psychology, event management, and marketing, and so many other things. And right now, what have said, not that excited, but I'm really interested in seeing how AI is changing the human behavior online, how people brains just accept the new AI virtuality and virtually how we perceive everything we see and how we trust it. So for me, it's really interesting to see how human brains react to the difference of the reality and the AI and the artificial intelligence world to see.
Yeah, love it. Okay, Emina, last.
Right, I'm Emina Demiri Watson. It's a very, very long surname. I love it. I work at an agency called Vixen Digital. First-time agency, a long time in-house. I think I've been around 15 years now in the industry, something like that. I'm a cross-channel, so not just SEO, and I'm very proud of it. I always say I'm too curious to specialize, which is just a code thing to too interested in everything. So I go into basically everything, very much a rabbit hole jumper. Yeah, I'm excited. You know what I'm excited about? It's very selfish. I'm excited that I can finally do some cool shit without starting with hello world. So yeah. I'm like really excited that I have managed to, it's like perfect for me. I've managed to kind of skip the actual start and do some really good stuff because it's great for coding. I mean, I hate calling it vibe coding because it's not, it's like bloody chaos coding. So it's not 5 minutes and you have a workflow, but that's
as long as you're vibing through the chaos. That's
exactly.
Right?
I mean, I call it chaos coding because, I'm trying to kind of wrangle and understand code, but that's my excitement mostly about it. And obviously I think understanding your audience is a big one as well, because that's where it can really shine on, depending on the model, as we all know.
Okay, so everyone watching, whoever hasn't watched the webinar from our community before, what we do is we have lightning rounds and sessions that each speaker gets to present their expertise, or of course in like a tiny 5-minute snippet, so a very tiny fraction of their expertise. So essentially we have these subsections, and each of our lovely speakers is going to tackle one of them. So Sam is starting with AI for competitor and user research. Just a very tiny note on questions. If you do have them, pop them in the comments. And then afterwards, if we have time, we're going to do a Q&A session, roundtable discussion. And if we don't, we usually have a blog post following up the webinar posted on our website, where we ping our speakers to answer the questions that weren't answered live. So without further ado, Sam, take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. And yes, I get to kick off, which means I get to take the longest. No, just kidding. So I'm going to go a little bit quickly. I know all of my understanding is all these slides will be available. I'll also be sharing them. So anytime you have questions, please send them my way. So we're going to be talking about using AI for competitor and user research. There we go. Are the slides working? Slides are working. Okay. So really the first thing I want to talk about is AI should be your research assistant and not a strategist. So I've had clients, I've had colleagues who are asking ChatGPT, hey, what content should I create? What keywords should I target? And at the end of the day, those are not decisions that you should be leaving to LLMs. Because they don't really understand the nuance of your market and who you are. So what they can help you do, though, is process a lot of data really quickly. They can help you find maybe some patterns that you wouldn't be able to find otherwise, or would take you a long time to get there. And then they can also help you build some tools. So what I'm going to be talking about is some workflows that I use for competitor and user research. And again, it's not making decisions for me, but it's helping me get that data so that I can make better decisions. Okay, so the first one is building, that's right. Okay, so building data collection tools. So really think about what are the data sets that you wish you had access to or you wish you could analyze at scale. And I'm really thinking about if it has an API, you're usually pretty golden. Can you use any kind of content extraction or web scraping to get that content? And some of my favorites are most often used, YouTube comments and transcripts. The YouTube API is super well documented, so it's actually really easy to build tools for this. Look at Google Business Places reviews, whether it's yours or your competitors. If you're in e-commerce, Amazon product reviews, even if you're not on Amazon, you can still get access to the API and that product data. And then if you're doing any kind of like competitor spying, email newsletters for my fellow SaaS companies, product change logs, all of that can really help you understand what's going on at a larger level. And my tip here is that I'd say set aside at least a good half day for the first time you want to build a tool, because it's going to be a lot of iterating, a lot of going back and saying, hey, this didn't work. This is the error I got. What do I do now? Hey, we need to start over. Because it ends up being a skill that you just build over time, and the troubleshooting becomes easier and easier because you kind of know what to look for. But this is definitely one of my favorite things to do, because now we're getting access to all kinds of data that maybe we couldn't get to before. Like for example, the client ended up not closing, but I had figured out how to use the Open Table API to figure out were there niches or cuisines, areas that were underserved in like the LA dining space. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. Again, if it has an API, you can probably tap into it. So an example here, and this is just a fictional example, but let's say you had competitor emails. You could write a prompt. I will say all of my sample prompts, I'm really polite with LLMs, and I can't not be. I know they tell us not to because it wastes tokens, but I don't know what to tell you. This is just who I am as a person. But telling it I have email files, I want to run an analysis, draft me a Google Colab notebook where it's going to extract the subject lines and body text and allows me to upload these files. So once we get that working, we can say, great, all of that's working. Now let's talk about how are we going to analyze it. I want to understand what topics or what features these emails talk on and how often they're talking about them. And so, for example, what you might have here is a competitor that used to always talk about ease of use is now mentioning enterprise security that much more. So what do you find? A positioning shift. So you can start really using that knowledge. And then these are tools that you can use repeatedly so that you can stay up to date. So you're getting less surprises and staying on top of that user research. Let's see, I gotta catch up here. Okay. So now let's move on to the next workflow, which is really in user intent. So traditionally what we've done is use kind of these 4 buckets. There's all different kinds of flavors, but navigational, transactional, informational, commercial. And we just go ahead and assign those intents or motivations to our keywords. Now, this is taking a one size fits all. It ends up being you applying them, so you're limited by your own bias. And then it just takes a lot of time. Now, I'm not saying that this is not a practice you shouldn't do. I'm not saying that at all, but I think we can take it a layer deeper. So, for example, and this is something my colleague says all the time, she calls it the user first approach. You're going to start out very similar. You're going to take all your keywords and export them, but then you're going to cluster according to the user problem. So we want to really understand, what is the user actually frustrated? What prompted the search that they're doing? And we want it to be more than just informational or commercial. We want to really understand what is going on through the user's head. So for this, you'll end up getting clusters like, I'm trying to troubleshoot a broken integration, evaluating vendors before a demo, and so on. And it just gets that much richer when it comes to your content use cases. Now, let's take it even a step further. This is where you can bring in other sources of data like those YouTube comments or those Google Business Places reviews, and really start to understand, how are users talking? What are the pain points that they're talking about? Because our users are always going to tell us how they really feel. It's one of the joys and absolute horrors of the internet. But yes, based on those things, how does it compare to my topic clusters? What's going on? And then you start really meshing together this entire user perspective and really feeding them what they want. An example for this one, I was looking at a schema markup cluster. We found using this process, I found actually 3 distinct audiences, which really told us there needed to be 3 distinct pieces of content. So it can be really powerful. Now, to close this out, I want to talk about what are the limitations and what are the problems that I consistently run into. Live fetches and crawls is where I typically see the most hallucinations. So a lot of times, like especially if I'm trying to get search results, it'll say there are rich snippets or SERP features that actually are not appearing on the pages. And when I go to look in SEMrush or Ahrefs, whatever tools you use, so that means that I usually work with a bias of trying to feed the content or the data into the model myself, so that I'm not having to worry about that. We also know, we've heard the horror stories about LLMs being really bad at math, which also means stop trying to use them to do those things. So another thing I've seen here is they sometimes don't know how to weigh the right metrics. So there was a competitor on topic A, they had 40 pages. On topic B, they had 3. And because of that, the LLM thought topic A was where they were stronger, but turns out 80% of their traffic came from topic B. But it was really just the number of pages talking about it was the metric they were using to quantify, are they strong or not? So you need to qualify what actually matters to you or how to weigh those things. And then I'd also say use other tools for quantitative analysis. They're not good at it. We should stop trying to force it. And then privacy and compliance, you want to make sure you're never feeding any personal data or confidential data into LLMs. So this is another +1 for use LLMs to help you build tools. So one of my favorite workflows, and you will see it from me time and time again, I use Claude Code to help me build, actually it's just Claude, excuse me, not Claude Code, but I use Claude to build a Google Colab notebook so that I can analyze my GSC and GA4 data, and I'm not feeding any of that into an LLM where it's unsafe. So I hope this helps. And again, just remember that at the end of the day, AI is your research assistant. It's not a strategist. Thanks.
I loved your presentation. Okay, very swiftly moving on to Myriam. Bear with me while I load her slides. And Myriam is going to be talking to us about technical branding and why it is important in the era of AI search systems, or GEO, LLMO, or whatever else people are calling it nowadays. I don't know, what is your preferred acronym?
So
walk us through it.
This answer is going to actually give you the tone for the entire presentation. My preferred term is whatever my clients call it, the end. And the reason why I say this is that I'm the type of person that gets very tired after a while of piling on and having these little debates that feel like navel gazing. what I'm focused on is, okay, so what do we do with this? Where do we take it? And what I've noticed is that technical SEO is one of those things where very early on people are like, oh, we're not going to need it anymore. You sure about that? Have you seen the web? So technical branding for me is technical SEO 2.0, and I'm here to make that argument. And you can be as technical as you want. If you're not getting that budget, it doesn't matter. So concretely, the issue right now is that, oh, sorry about that. The issue is that tech SEO is a cost center. Whenever you ask for stuff, the people in charge of saying yes or no to you see you as a cost center. You are causing their budget to be allocated in a way that doesn't bring them joy. And this is a bit difficult to sell because it's like selling insurance. Nobody has fun with that. Oh, this hypothetical problem that could happen, I'm going to handle it for you. No. AI feels like a land grab right now when it comes to marketing. So technical branding is going to solve the technical SEO problem by reframing site infrastructure as a literal identity protocol for your brand to make sure that your AI narrated brand comes out correctly and comes out where it should. So like I said, tech SEO is a cost center, and you need to move from fixing errors to engineering equity. Because when you do that, people actually do want to give you money and let you do things. So very quickly, I'm not going to read all of this. What happens when someone asks about your brand in ChatGPT, Gemini, elsewhere? You have fan out, many questions. It's like a detective. You ask one question, it's asking a bunch. And then it's going to figure out, okay, what do I know about you? And then it's going to actually go online and check some stuff as well. Then it's going to verify, okay, am I okay here? And then it's going to score the risk, and then it's going to synthesize and give you the best coffee machine narrative. So how do you sell technical branding with this landscape, with this reality? Well, for the CMO, you're like, hey, I'm going to ensure that the brand is consistent, even when AI summarizes it, even though we get a new answer every time we push the button. For the CTO, it's reducing technical debt and improving quality signals of brands. For the brand manager, I mean, I can explain this very quickly. Hey, it's all the stuff that you now have to care about, but you don't even know how to care about it. Let me handle that for you. I'm your new friend. So preventing AI brand drift is important. AI brand drift is when your brand gets collapsed with another brand, or if you don't offer product demos or free trials, but all your competitors do, so thus it hallucinates you do too. And what is within this practice? Well, you have bot governance. You want to make sure that there's no partial read, that it just doesn't come, looks at a little window and leaves without the proper information. And when I say this, you have to consider that you have two, it's more than two, but for now we're talking about this, training crawlers and retrieval agents. So you want to train future models and you're waiting for the update to have your data show up, or retrieval agents, which, I mean, I want to be a brand that has such high entropy that the system doesn't have a choice. It has to go on my website and check, just because it's that specific. Another part of that practice is controlling the narrative drift and preventing hallucinations. Hallucinations can cost a lot of money. And I'm not even going to go in the SaaS world for this. I'm going to talk about restaurants. Restaurants are getting fed up with people coming and saying, I want the special menu. It said on ChatGPT that you have this. And they're like, no, we don't. Read the menu. Thank you. And in order to do this, you have to present the work that you do along a quadrant, because your brand has multiple layers. You have the known brand, which, we need to own the digital assets and make sure we have optimal machine readability for that. Latent brand is whatever people are saying about you on forums, on social media, etc. And you want to make sure that any shareable asset that these people could share from your website, any property, is going to be, once again, readable and impact public sentiment in discussions. The shadow brand is really where technical SEO for me becomes technical branding. You want to avoid leaks. You want to avoid cybersecurity nightmares. You want to avoid that old PDF saying that you cost $8 when your price is $12 now from showing up. You don't want it to be a source. And then from all of these layers, you have the AI narrated brand. And this ensures that, generative AI and agentic crawling, along with multimodal search, is fed properly, and that it doesn't veer off somewhere based on what it already knows, reads, fetches. Another element that is important, and I'm the type of person that normally doesn't really talk about these high level, here's how to sell stuff. I just do it as a consultant. That's it. Here are some concrete tips. That's more my vibe. Optimizing from the machine gaze is something that we have to do now. We used to do technical SEO going, okay, I'm negotiating my relationship with the bot. It's kind of a bouncer and I need to get through. Right now, no, it's staring at us. And what does it mean for the machine gaze? Well, for videos, you have to get technical. AI samples video at a rate of roughly 1 frame per second. And if you do that TikTok smash cut thing that everyone loves, yeah, your brand message is not going to make it through. Sorry, that's just a technical hurdle. You need to chunk it. Videos are like content, you need structure. So you should be pre-chunking, and I know that that word is a problem in our industry, but at the end of the day, think of it as propose chapters, propose a transcript, make sure that your video actually conveys the message you're trying to convey. And you need to stay consistent. So the script, the visuals, and you dramatically pausing is considered audio bolding. You are showing what the key points are with your cadence, with how you speak. Everything has to align, because if you're not consistent, then you're noise and you get discarded. If you want to know more about this, I suggest you read a few things, because I've been writing a lot about that stuff. If you want to know about AI brand drift and what happens, you can. Image optimization, I've got you, boo. Video optimization, not just me, there's someone else in the room that knows a lot about it. And technical branding is an article you can also check. So last but not least, if you want to see me yapping on LinkedIn, I am a very proficient yapper.
Very, very efficient and proficient. I loved your presentation, Myriam. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Jess that will be talking about AI in organic marketing and SEO.
Hello. So my goal is to go through how to use generative AI and not lose control. So something we've heard from a lot of people who've spoken today is hallucinations, trying to keep AI on guardrails. Generative AI, saying it hallucinates in some ways is a misnomer. It always is hallucinating. Everything that comes out of it, it cannot tell truth from lies, right? It can produce plausible text. So the risk is that plausible is not the same as true. And a lot of AI in the SEO industry is based around content creation, which might not actually be where it's most useful. It's more like an automation layer. So for SEO and organic, you can get the best results when you are being helped to analyze, organize, and speed up your workflows, but keeping control of inputs and outputs and verifying. So let's talk about reliability. This was viral. I don't know if everyone saw this. This is a Reddit post. We just found out our AI has been making up analytics data for 3 months and I'm gonna throw up. We do not want to throw up. If you are just putting your data into ChatGPT or Claude, there is a chance it will hallucinate. Generative AI is designed to be very agreeable, and that means if you say, find a good trend in this data, there is a good chance it will come up with a good trend in that data. If you say, even if you push it like, I am a company, we're at this valuation, tell us where we're going, there is a chance that you have weighted the input to give you a positive output. We don't want that. if you let AI answer your leadership questions without that grounding in your data, you will outsource the truth. So you don't ask it for those things. The safest pattern is AI helps with the process, and your system and defines the data, and you define the analysis. We're all marketers, we're all SEOs. We can look at things and know, are they correct or not, right? So let's do repeatable steps and reliable outputs. Generative AI is not reliable as an output source. It's like having a button to turn on and off the light that occasionally makes a duck noise. We don't want the duck noise in the data. So let's bring our own data, use repeatable steps, and then add checks. Spot checks, totals, sanity checks. If you can't reproduce it, don't operationalize it. AI, this is I realized I didn't go forward. So let's talk about this. One of the things you can do with generative AI is not put your data in it at all, but like Sam said earlier, ask it to create code so you can analyze your own data. One thing that AI is really good at doing is refactoring code to meet your specific needs. I like poking around on GitHub or like looking for scripts that help with a SEO practice and then saying, apply this to my data. You can find code that solves your problem and use AI to tailor it to you and your goals. This reduces the risk because you are weighting the inputs and the workflow is explicit and testable. Even with code, you can have incorrect inputs and outputs. I use Colab and as well as this, and so you can put in like a prompt, like I'm using Google Colab to do this, upload your data, and then you can ask it to build you Python script, or you can use someone else's Python script. With all of this, there is a dangerous moment where code produces a very clean output and you assume it's correct, but you still need to sample, you need to check the baseline, and you need to use your instincts. You should trust your gut. And part of this is knowing enough Python to use it effectively. One of the things that is nice about using AI and Colab and tools like it is you aren't going to break anything if you are using Colab. You can do whatever you want in Colab. You can use it for whatever Python you want. You can really go crazy. You can experiment. You are not going to break Google. And it's a really easy way to learn how to code because you can throw whatever spaghetti at the wall, and if it breaks, you reload the environment or just load up a new Colab. It is a safe thing for you to do. So here is my Python crash course. Python uses variables. It is just a declaration, and anything can be a variable. You can use print the head of your CSV or your data frame, and that gives you an easy way to check the files. And now you can go prod around with Python. You can go use Python. You are the brains of the operation. AI is the brawn. You can use it to help you think, and it's not there to replace your thought. You'll spot issues faster than a model does. You'll be able to see where things go wrong. And even if you write code, one of the reasons I suggest knowing a little bit of code is because there are times where if you input, like, I have a file of keywords, cluster them for me, there is a chance that instead of clustering them for you, it tells you, it creates something that like prints clusters and doesn't actually do what you asked it to do. AI is biased towards confidently answering your question in the way you want it to be answered. It is designed to hide difficult truths from you, and you want it to give you difficult truths. And the way to do that is to force yourself to see those difficult truths. Again, like with all of this, and I think with all of the other presentations here, trust your marketing instincts. You know what you're doing. You know what it feels like, and that means you know when things are going wrong and when things are going right. And I think that's my presentation.
Thank you so much, Jess. I really appreciate it. I'm so much looking forward to the panel discussion because so far I feel like I am giving the presentation in 5 different voices. So I'm very happy to have all of my opinions reaffirmed by all of you wonderful people. So next up we have Larisa. Larisa is going to talk to us about video SEO and how to use AI within your video SEO strategy.
Hey everyone again. Amazing presentations till now. Okay. So today, because we have a few ways to approach the topic of AI in video and in video SEO and optimization, but today I want to get a little bit more on the how you can train your personal cloning, your personal clone, your personal copycat. So in this presentation, I'm going to give you a few steps to help you create your personal AI avatar with specific tool. This is not an advertisement for the tool. It's just a tool that I'm using on a daily, and of course you can use different tools, different models, so don't worry about it. I'm just going to give you a few tips on how to prepare your personal avatar. So the base of the full presentation is that right now AI is helping us create videos faster, do things allegedly better, but my personal experience shows that people feel and find human content better. And if you're watching an AI content somewhere, most of the times you are going to react to it negatively. So right now we have the highly creative process to create more videos, to create videos in bulk, but still this is not maybe the best part. So for the example, I'm going to use a HeyGen, which is a tool which helps you create your personal AI avatars, or if you can use generic avatar that will help you create videos on bulk and basically create videos only on prompts. How you can do that? You can basically, for different businesses, let's say you sell cosmetics, or you have how to say it, UGC type of content, you create that UGC type of content. This will be really helpful for you to skip some steps on the creative process. And how you can do that in this presentation, you have the specific process with HeyGen, which is basically you have to create a video of yourself in a really well-lit room, preferably film that during the day in front of a big window of you, how you're speaking in English or the language you prefer, and be sure to speak, to talk about different things, just to give the opportunity to the model to learn of you and to be better at copying you. There's a few things here. Make sure you follow every single tip of the different tools you're using, because every single tool will give you the opportunity to follow different tips on how to train their own personal avatar creation process. After you upload your videos and start the training process of that type of avatar, you have the opportunity to edit that avatar, to add your personal voiceover to it, to tweak it, to change different settings on it. And it's basically really simplified editing tool where you can have layers of the editing process. You can add music, you can cut the video, you can add different things, and of course you can see that. Can I show you here? Yeah, in the left side of the editor, you have the text you want this avatar of yours to say, and of course you can edit every single bit of it. Of course, this is only for the these two. I'm just giving you not as an advertisement, just as an information. How does this tool? What does this tool cost monthly, and what you have with that price? Of course, for the final advice, whenever you film every bit of content for the training process, leave the glasses alone, leave the pearls alone. If you use any jewelry, everything that will create the process harder for the model. Don't use your hands too much, because this will only confuse the process and you'll have some wonky kind of end result. Be brave with tweaking the settings. Try a few videos to train the model. Try different avatars. Try different avatars with different clothes on it. So you can have different approaches and different versions of you while you are doing different type of content. Be careful for the glitches. Absolutely be careful with your eye movement, with your lips movement, your hands, and of course with everything that doesn't seem right or it doesn't count the right number of things as fingers. And even if you use AI to create content, be sure to create meaningful content, because as long as you do, and this content helps somebody, that's perfect. But if the content is just AI slop, it will just fill the flow with another meaningless content online, and nobody will appreciate that, because at the moment, people really doesn't like to lose their time, let's say, with AI slop. And yep, that's it.
Love it. Thank you so much, Lara. The last one from the quickfire presentations is Emina, and she's going to be walking us through how to learn AI as a senior marketer. And very quickly, for everyone watching, pop your questions in the chat. We'll try to have at least 5 to 10 minutes of a discussion after Emina's presentation. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. So it's an interesting question, considering that I'm sitting here learning as we speak, and I've been kind of making some notes and making some comments in the speakers section as well, because that's how I learn. How else do I learn? Now, there's some interesting data, and I love data. A recent study that came out of Marketing Week, this is B2B, but I suspect it's very similar to B2C as well, is that a whopping 58% of companies are looking, of course, to increase their focus on AI in the next 3 years. Now, that's not in itself, that's surprising. Understanding of AI is a critical skill, again, 57%, quite high, not that surprising. But what really struck me is that 84% of companies actually think that understanding AI is much more important now than it was 3 years ago. Now, that's a really high percentage, and it does kind of show how it's very important to learn about LLMs and understand LLMs even and maybe particularly as a senior marketer. But how the hell do you actually do it? How do you upskill yourself without first losing your mind, because everything changes hourly now? Secondly, triggering your imposter syndrome, because let's face it, everybody has it, even senior people who have been in the industry for decades, or feeling like a dud in the process, because as you get senior, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to think, oh no, I have to kind of go back to the beginning with some things, and I've been in the industry so long, or maybe it's just me, but I had to get over that hurdle a little bit. So this is a very simple process that I would suggest that I used. First of all, you have to understand yourself and plan around you. Now it's a no-brainer, but what that actually means is first understanding your strength as a senior marketer, and that really helps you with the imposter syndrome side of things. Secondly, you need to understand your cognitive tendencies. So how are you wired when you're learning? And thirdly, how do you actually learn? And by that, I don't mean like the usual learner styles. It's not about that. How do you learn and what will help you? And then you plan your learning around it. And then secondly, step 2, embed on your own terms. What I mean by this is kind of thinking about when you're doing the stuff, defining your problem, start with that. Then think about maybe connecting it to a real brief or a real client problem for us in the agency side of things. And then you need to think about hunting for resources that are already existing. And lastly, building those habits that you need to learn. How does that look like in an example? I mean, I can only give myself as an example because I kind of know myself best when it comes to learning. So I'm a senior leader with a keen nose for BS and quite a lot of cross-channel experience. So I know already when an output is, I use my experience to know when an output is just complete BS or somebody is trying to sell me pork pies. That will not change just because it's a new technology. You have to kind of trust your gut as a senior marketer. How do I actually learn? Now that's an interesting one. I'm a doer, but I also love a good course. I love academic papers and I love collaboration. Now that's all great. I combine all of those things and it's quite straightforward. But now how I'm wired is where my risk actually sits. And this is because I always say I'm too curious to specialize. And that is a genuine strength, but it's also my biggest risk because I tend to jump into rabbit holes. I also tend to start like 3 courses and then I have to kind of finish at least one of those because I'm just really keen on jumping into everything. So I had to make a conscious decision not to do that before I decided what's going to be my learning plan. That had to kind of go into it. So the right approach for me is courses. I do quite a bit of them. I do Lazarina's amazing course that was Introduction to Machine Learning as part of Machine Learning for SEO. I did Brittany Mueller's course, AI for Marketing, also a really good one. I do a lot of messing with code. I call it chaos coding, not vibe coding. I do that by locally hosting things in Visual Studio using a Docker, and please use environment files. Do not just put in, like an open API key. I also use Colab quite a lot. Noah, who was here earlier, I don't know if he's still here, he introduced me to this secret known as secrets in Colab, which allow you to upload your keys, API keys, really, really, really safely into Colab as well. Google Scripts. I read a lot of academic papers, or at least I try to read a lot of academic papers. So I have a whole list of kind of really heavy papers that I kind of dip into. Development groups. I have a development group on WhatsApp that I'm very active on. Lots of communities. Husband bot. My husband is a data scientist, head of data science. So whenever I'm really struggling or whenever there's math, I get him to explain it to me. I mean, I love Claude Code. SEO community, again, Noah's baby, does these really, really great sessions where they do it live. I haven't been to one, but it's on my list. I'm also hoping to join a hackathon with Chris Green. That's in the pipeline. But to deal with the fact that I am kind of somebody who jumps into rabbit holes, I do time-based sessions, or at least I try. And I'm also learning by teaching others, which is what I was saying here. I love presenting and listening to other speakers. Right, I have to go because I'm over my time. Embedding on my own
it's okay.
terms.
Please finish.
Sorry.
Please finish your presentation.
Sorry.
I might so scary. It's
well,
okay.
I know, but I know that was the sign. I'm terrible. So embedding on my own terms, I always, and that's not just because she's looking at me on the screen, but I always suggest that people use Les Arenas define the problem before they jump into using LLM. So what's your task, what data you're working with, and what are the solution characteristics. So check it out. Tie it to a brief. Client came to us, for example, they wanted to understand their Trustpilot reviews, and we wanted to understand their audience. Win-win. Did some data crunching. Everybody was super happy with the results across all of the channels, and we used it. Come to Brighton SEO. I'm doing a talk on that. Building habits. For me, it's setting timers, defining what done looks like, testing in batches, shipping something, even if it's not perfect, using templates from the courses that I attend, weekly hunting on GitHub. Just be careful. Don't just use any old code. Use Docker and use environment files. And I'm now slowly starting to be more willing to share my broken ass code, because as a senior marketer, this is one of those things that I have to get over, which is I'm not a coder and I hate it. Right. Thank you. You can find me on LinkedIn.
Yay! So everyone, we have some time for a joint discussion. Myriam had to go, but we will get her thoughts on any of the topics that we discussed for the blog post that we are going to be publishing on our website. But to kind of kick off the discussion, because I think that's something that we spoke about right before the webinar started. What do you think this what do you think the future of this current era of AI is? And I know this is a very loaded question, so let's try to keep it short and snappy, because I know we can go on a big tangent on where this all is going.
Do you mind if I start?
I don't mind at all, as long as anyone starts.
So I think there are a couple of different ways that AI can be integrated in the future of kind of society, SEO, everything. And it kind of depends on whether or not the decision makers and C-suites continue to have faith in the idea that there will be perfect AGI, perfect can do anything AI. At the moment, LLMs cannot become the thing they want it to become. They cannot be perfect informations. They cannot be perfect replacements for people, but they can be good enough in some circumstances. So we're either getting an AI winter sooner rather than later, where LLMs will be filtered into more LLM-friendly applications, or we're going to get more and more low-level work handed over to LLMs. So I would say, if you are in a position to continue hiring juniors, please do, because the juniors will eventually become seniors, and they're the ones who will understand what the code is, what SEO is, and guide your decision making.
I just had to post this comment.
Yeah. we are the decision makers for a lot of things, and if you can make decisions, you have to understand, like, if you can use LLMs for something doesn't mean you should, and you can. Sometimes it is you're bringing I've said you're doing surgery with a shotgun. Like, the shotgun is useful for certain things, not necessarily open heart surgery. So that's my kind of. I've been trying really hard not to be like doom-pilled about it. I think there are things that LLMs are good at, but until the kind of hype is over, we'll have to kind of be better about having a conversation about it and making decisions.
Yeah, once you start unpacking it, then it's just not as exciting as it was at the beginning, I would imagine. Does anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, I can. Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
You can go.
I also try and be positive, but I do feel like there was a report by Gartner or Deloitte or somebody talking about us being in like kind of the valley of disillusionment when you think about how technology develops. And I think that's very true. There's been a lot of research on how the actual kind of valley of promises that LLMs have been, model has been built on has not come to fruition. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. That doesn't mean that there's no place for LLMs, but I would caution anybody who's planning to replace their junior workforce with LLMs, because those senior marketers or with any industry they're gonna spend so much time reviewing LLM outputs that they're not going to be doing any strategy work or moving things forward. What they're going to be doing is, at scale, checking stuff. And that's not something you want to pay your senior teams for, because that's what they're going to have to be doing. And AGI from these models, as if. I'm sorry. I tried to be positive. I started well.
Okay, I have
Larisa,
only basically the one-liner for the whole AI right now, the whole AI movement and the LLMs movement. I think that the beauty and the genius of the mind is in its imperfections. So as long as we are using this new technology as tools to help us be imperfect and to be genius, I think we'll be fine. The moment we start to rely fully on some calculations as a mind, we as people, as beautiful people, I think we will lose a lot of the experience of being a professional, being alive itself. So yeah, I think that this is a perfect tool. We can use it, we can save time to do different things and to do a lot of meaningful things, but it still has to be a tool.
Sam, do you want to share your thoughts with the group?
I feel like a lot of it has been said that, obviously the promises are not coming through. What's interesting though is that's definitely impacting businesses more than it's impacting individuals. Because even on an individual level, the users are still going up. Consumers are changing their patterns, so that'll be interesting to see. But I think the biggest thing about it, there was an article that came out November of last year, I think, of just AI optimism is a class privilege. And that's something that just sits on my conscience. And I just think through that all the time, because I think we are optimistic about AI as an industry, because the opportunities that it affords us. But I think we need to always keep thinking about the cost too. And then I think we're finding our way to the world of WALL-E, which is terrifying, but that's fine.
Yeah. My thoughts specifically about, AI is just, how with any technology, how fast it spreads is a very good indicator, and basically who uses it. And at the moment, of course, it has been making waves into some industries, marketing being one, coding and programming being another, data science, all that. It is making waves in those industries. But then once you kind of step outside and, touch grass outside of the IT field, it really isn't. The world is different. And I think it's so much more concerning the way that this technology is used and trusted in circles where it is not as well understood. Because we understand it, we can talk about the limitations, we can apply it in different contexts, and we kind of know what to look out for. We know how these chatbots personalize content with context and memory, and every output is different for different users, and that's for a reason. So it creates a filter bubble, blah blah blah, all of the stuff. We understand it. But your average mom asking ChatGPT for advice for a newborn that is struggling with some tummy issues, that's where the real problem is. And you would be very, very surprised as to how much this technology is actually trusted. And I don't personally think that companies like Google are helping the narrative by bringing AI mode and AI overviews directly on top of organic results as well. Not that you can't game organic results and spread misinformation, but it's just at a scale that I personally have never seen before. So that kind of makes me worried, I think. Not even for myself as much, but for the future generations.
Absolutely.
Big thank you to Noah. He had a question about frameworks that you're using to build. He's looking for recommendations for spec-driven development. I'm happy for us to maybe park this question and answer it in a blog post, because I think that all of the speakers might have more time to kind of think about the question and kind of give you recommendations there. And it might be, just as it is a little bit more of a technical question, it might be best addressed there. But if someone wants to very quickly jump in, I'm happy to give that space as well. No. Good. Then my call was correct.
I can run through and just say I like Pydantic, Marshmallow, and I've tended to use typedict and data classes and JSON schema, and otherwise I mostly just use Python to handle the automation and pipeline and workflow orchestration. Noah, you know me. You can hunt me down. We can talk about this.
I'll answer your things. Yeah, absolutely. But yes, insights will be shared in a blog post. I don't know, Emina, if you want to.
Noah had a chat with me, and he saw my broken ass code, so he kind of knows what I use in general. So yeah.
All right. So, I just wanted to say thanks again for everyone watching the webinar. Thank you for our wonderful guests. I know that we are a little bit over the time today, but it was such a knowledge-packed webinar. And I know that this topic is so heavy. If you ask me, I could be sitting here for 5 hours just talking about this. So thank you so much to everyone for joining. Thank you for sharing your insights. Everyone, you can find all of the guests on LinkedIn and definitely do follow them, and be sure to check out the blog post with any extra insights once we have that ready. And for all of you community members that are watching, that are in Sofia, or if you're not a community member yet, but you're looking for a community, we have a networking dinner this month, which is insane. In Sofia, it's going to be on the 26th of February. Definitely be there or be square. And the millennial in me is coming out. So thank you so much for everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next webinar next month. Bye.